We're back, and of course, let's talk about examination and the issues relating to it. Now, concerns over rising examination malpractices in the ongoing 2025 WASSCE, that's the West African Senior High School Certificate Examination, have deepened after an invigilator at the WASSCE Senior High Technical School was caught with questions from subjects including picture marking and oral English on his mobile phone. Now, the incident comes as WAEC steps out effort to clamp down on students and teachers engaged in the practice.
2025 WASSCE progresses, concerns are mounting over the rising cases of examination malpractice. On a tour of some examination centers with the WAEC delegation, the national head of WAEC, Dr. Mrs. Rosamond Wilson, explained that the surge is more visible this year because stringent measures have been introduced to clamp down on both students and teachers involved in the practice. At WASSCE Senior High Technical School, an invigilator was found with a mobile phone. Upon further questioning, it was discovered that his mobile phone contained questions from subjects including picture making and oral English. The phone has since been confiscated for further investigations.
One invigilator was in possession of a mobile phone, and the invigilators are not supposed to take mobile phones to the examination hall. So we have taken the matter up and we will deal with it. The mobile phone had a write-up of it had some of our questions for the previous exams they have written, like picture making, English orals. It had some of those questions on it and also answers to the questions on it.
Touching on the recent release of the BEC results and concerns raised by parents and teachers over students' performance, Dr. Wilson dismissed suggestions of any challenges. She emphasized that the results reflect exactly what the candidates produced, stressing that both the syllabus and the marking scheme were without fault.
The same curriculum that we use for BEC, which we obtained from GES, was used, and the questions were from the same syllabus. So there is no reason why they shouldn't perform well, but maybe because of the way they learned for the exam.
Well, schools across the Ashanti region have become high security zones as administrators restrict movement to enforce anti-malpractice rules. To avoid WAEC sanctions, institutions like TI and MASS have shut offices, banned vendors, and sealed examination parameters, allowing only candidates and selected teachers to patrol halls. Assistant Headmaster of Academics Henry Edem Dente says the school is resolute in preventing interference.
And from WAEC,
yeah, a lot of measures internally that we ourselves we put up. We selected special teachers who help us with searching the students before they enter the examination room. Some restricted food vendors, all offices in the school are closed. Yes, so that, and other students are also restricted so that nobody will interfere with the exams. We carefully also selected our invigilators and we did series of briefing for them so that we are all prepared for the exams. Yes.
Is there any other thing you want to add?
I think that generally we have to encourage the students so that they do their best. We are hoping that when they sit up and they study, yes, they will produce the desired results that we all expect. Thank you very much.
Let me bring in the Public Relations Officer of the West African Examination Council, Mr. John Kapi. Mr. Kapi, so far your assessments of the examination?
Good afternoon. It's been a while.
Right.
Well, yeah, so far we can say that things have gone on quite well. On our part, the things that we would usually do before the examination start, we've been able to do all of it. We've been able to send question papers to all the centers. We have not received any reports of shortage in terms of the number of question papers. We've not also received any issues about difficulties on the part of candidates to be able to sit the examination. So far, I would say that everything has gone on quite well.
Right. So apart from this invigilator, this body who was caught with examination questions on his mobile phone, are there other incidents that have come to your notice?
For now, no. Today is the first day that we've had a major paper written, and so by close of day, I'm sure our monitors will send us some reports, and then maybe from those reports, we'll be able to tell whether there are any issues with some of the invigilators and supervisors. But for now, no other reports have reached us.
Right. So clearly everything is going according to plan.
Well, as of now, we can say that things are going according to plan. We haven't received any negative reports from any of the areas here.
And I also see that some schools have taken matters into their own hands. For example, Tia Media in Ashanti region, they've taken their own measures to ensure that nothing interferes with the ongoing examination. And I'm sure this will come as a step in the right direction as far as WAEC is concerned.
Absolutely, because we have held a number of sessions with them in terms of trying to give them a lot of briefing on the rules and regulations that they need to apply in the course of the examination. We've also asked that they also sign some kind of undertaking, because most of the time when these things occur, it is the candidates that we usually punish, and then maybe the teachers who would have been collaborators would go scot-free. So this time around, I believe that the school authorities are putting in place measures to ensure that everything that has to be done is done, in order that they don't have their names flying in the wrong direction, if you want, because obviously if there are reports of irregularities in any institution, their names will come up, and that wouldn't augur well for them for now and even for the future.
But do we have CCTV cameras in the examination halls?
As we speak, I do not have any reports of any centers where there are CCTV cameras.
All right. And then, enlighten us on this. In the BEC results that just got released, 177 students have had their, papers cancelled.
Yes, we released the results last Saturday, and 177 candidates have had their entire results cancelled for infractions of the examination rules. Yeah, and then we have a few of them also who have subject results cancelled, and then others also have had their results withheld, for further scrutiny.
And are these individuals, or, for example, students from a particular school, or these are just individuals that pay your own investigation, something did not tally for you?
So we have some individual candidates. For example, when you look at the release that we had, the 718 subject results cancelled. These are individual candidates who were picked up in the course of the examination, and whose statements were taken, and who had admitted to the offense for which they were picked up. Now, if you go further on in the statement, you'll find out that we also have about 119 schools whose subject results have been cancelled. Now, so it means that, for example, school A, school B, school C may have had, let's say, English language, or may have had mathematics or RME or something cancelled. So about 119 schools. So let's say for those 119 schools, they may have, for the entire school, a particular subject cancelled for them all. And then we also have about 87 schools who have candidates whose subject results have been withheld for further scrutiny. So we are still working on these, and for those that have been withheld, and hopefully by the 6th of September, as our statement says, we should be able to release all the results. That is, if they have to be released or cancelled, if we have to cancel them.
So for those with cancellation, there's no remedy for them. They'll have to rewrite.
Well, for those whose results have been cancelled, there's no remedy. They'll have to certainly rewrite, yes.
And there's no punishment for them beyond the cancellation?
No, it depends. No, usually when the results are released and your results are cancelled, it could be either that you had a mobile phone on you, or you assaulted an examination official. Now, it could be verbal, it could be physical assault. Now, so if there's any assault on any examination official, you would have your entire results cancelled and you'll be barred for a period not less than 2 years. But then if it's a mobile phone infraction, the very next year, you can, apply, you can register again and write as a private candidate.
And for the students in question, is there anyone that is likely to face further action beyond the cancellation?
From the reports I have so far, none of these candidates is going to face any other sanctions apart from what we have done so far.
All right, Mr. Kapi, we'll keep monitoring this particular space. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon here on the Pulse. The news just coming in. The Ministry of Defense has just released a statement on the helicopter accident that claimed the lives of the Defense Minister, the Environment Minister, and then 6 others, including military officers. The ministry, in a statement, is informing the public that the investigation board established to inquire into the recent Z9 helicopter crash has formally commenced work. The board is chaired by the National Security Coordinator, with membership drawn from the Ghana Air Force and the Aircraft Accident and Incident Investigation Prevention Bureau of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority. The United States of America is also providing advice and assistance to the board through visiting investigators from the U.S. Air Force. Also, the board may also invite other relevant experts and institutions, both local and international, to assist with the investigation. It will be recorded that on the day of the incident, August 6, 2025, a preliminary investigation team was constituted to gather all available evidence relating to the crash in support of the board's work. The preliminary investigation team is scheduled to submit its report to the board today. The investigation board has been mandated to complete its work within 30 days. And that is the new information coming through from the Ministry of Defense. And that is what you have on your screens now. The investigation has just started, and the investigation team is chaired by the National Security Coordinator. Members are drawn from the Ghana Air Force, Aircraft Accident and Incident Investigation and Prevention Bureau of the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority. There's also the United States of America. They are providing advice and assistance to the board through visiting investigators from the U.S. Air Force. And then the team that first responded to this accident and started some kind of investigation, they are presenting their report to the board today. And the investigation, which started this morning, is expected to be complete and work submitted within 30 days. That is the news coming in right now. Now, Ghana is exploring the cultivation of cannabis for industrial and medicinal purposes under a law that has already been passed. Now, Alexander Chumberima, Deputy Director General of the Enforcement, Control and Elimination at the Narcotics Control Board, told the AM show today that if approved, the move would create new opportunities for research, export, and economic growth. We'll also hear from him shortly. But first, the story of 23-year-old Veronica, not her real name though, who is battling drug addiction at the Confidante Teaching Hospital after being introduced to cocaine, marijuana, and opiates by her boyfriend. Health workers warn that her story is far from unique, with teenagers as young as 13 years falling victim to a growing drug epidemic. In our latest hotline documentary, Deadly Doses, Nana Wachi Yadam exposes a crisis demanding urgent action. Here are excerpts, and that's how we end the show for today. My name is Elton Bob. Have a good evening.
A silent epidemic festers in the shadows. This is beneath homes, schools, the vibrant markets, and busy trotro stations all over the country. It is a crisis that gnaws at the very fabric, robbing Ghana of its future, one youth at a time. In this documentary, I will take you on a journey to two neighborhoods in Kumasi, known not for commerce, but for addiction, desperation, and decay. Tinker Island and Colombia, the notorious drug hubs, as we unmask Ghana's drug epidemic.
When I drew time when I say I damn it me bonum no me get kakra na e.
According to a report by the Global Initiative Against Transnational Organized Crime, domestic drug consumption in Ghana has become an underreported phenomenon. Health professionals working at state-funded psychiatric hospital estimates that about 10% of inpatients and between 20% and 30% of outpatient cases are now linked to substance abuse. The Narcotics Control Commission reviews that there are about 50,000 drug users in Ghana, with 35,000 as students from junior high, senior high and tertiary institutions aged between 12 and 35 years, while the remaining 15,000 are adults, with 9,000 males and 6,000 females. These aren't just numbers, these are lives, futures and the very soul of the nation hanging in the balance.
We've realized that especially some of our neighbors, neighboring countries, they have these clandestine labs, and some of them have been able to come into the country and establish some of these labs that we are still using intelligence to find out where they are. You know, they are also producing these synthetic substances which are also destroying the youth.
These drugs being abused are opioids, popularly known as red, suspected cocaine, marijuana or weed as locally known, among countless others.
The use of opioids is very, very, very high. Mr. Speaker, conservative estimate, in every constituency, you can have about 100,000 youth engaged in the use of this opioid. So we have about 276,000 youth have been exposed to this use of opioids. Mr. Speaker, rhetorically, Mr. Speaker, the new opioid substance is what we call red. Mr. Speaker, we need red. We need red. It is the new opioid substance that is being abused.
This is what leaves the Interior Minister, Muntaka Mubarak, worried.
Regional Commander, in the next 6 months, if you are able to do something for me, I'll be so happy. And I know the Zongo Menshia Divisional Commander is here. You know, we have a place in Kumasi here around Alaba that is so unpopular. They call it Tinker. That's the task that I want to see. That to welcome me, to show that the Interior Minister is from this region. I want Tinker to be a thing of the past in the next 6 months. And I'll be very, very happy.
Our journey takes us deep into the heart of places tagged as drug hubs, beginning with Tinker Island. This hub has, for decades, defied efforts to be eradicated. I have met these 3 addicts, leading me into one of the many ghettos in the island, but they demand 10 Ghana cedis before taking the risk. They tell me that navigating the area requires a deep understanding of its unwritten rules. Here, drug dealers operate with an almost open defiance. Our aim is to engage them, to understand their world, and if possible, to spot the elusive cartel that fuels this relentless trade. It was a long journey to a very short distance, which is believed to help them blow the whistle. Finally, we have access to this uncompleted building where some of the addicts stared blankly and a few, despite the cameras, continued injecting, snorting and inhaling while I engaged their masters to plead for an interview. Finally, we have been granted the permit to speak to some of the addicts. I begin with 26-year-old Rich Diddy, not his real name, who is already holding 2 tablets of opioid. This will be his second take for the day. He tells me that he started this in class 6 at age 13 after his friend introduced him to Tinker Island.
What drug is this?
This one is a red.
Red?
225.
225?
Red.
Why?
This one is they call Unim Red.
Unim Red? Why do you take red?
Because I used to work. It make me work hard to do something like the thing I cannot do itself. I can do it very hard.
For 13 years now, Rich Diddy has been a consistent abuser of opioids, cocaine, marijuana, among others. He is also into alcoholism. He has been to the hospital and has been told about his poor health condition, but says he is unable to stop taking drugs. Seated next to Rich Diddy is 40-year-old ghetto lord, not his real name, who has been into drugs for 15 years now. Despite being a father of 3, he tells me his wife has rejected him because of his addiction. Ghetto Lord is a chronic weed smoker and he finds it difficult to stop taking drugs even in a day. He is convinced that very soon he could die.
Yeah, cigarette. Rough man. Tell me no, I'm but at long last, I'm my me. She cried, I'm a boy, baby woo.
Baby woo.
Not the equate of an order.
Unim so baby woo na wono.
I say to my yamo be a minute to me for saying yay. You'll be born kakra.
Just across town lies Colombia, a name that conjures images of South American drug cartels, and perhaps rightly so. But in Kumasi's Colombia, the scent of burned substances mingles with the stench of despair. We have our cameras down, filming secretly. We need a permit. These uncompleted buildings, abandoned by their owners, have been claimed, transformed into grim sanctuaries, or rather, prisons for addicts. The air here hangs heavy with the acrid smell of smoke. After some time, we are permitted to film. After doing so, we are allowed to enter the office of the ghetto. Despite the cameras, some are seen crushing tramadol tablets into fine powder using coins or broken glass, mixing it with energy drinks or codeine-laced syrups before gulping it down. Others roll marijuana in old newspapers or scrap pages from books, licking the edges to seal the joints. Nearby, others prepare heroin and other opioids, drawing the liquefied drugs into syringes, inhaling, sniffing, injecting, each method tailored to the high they crave.
Today we've come to the inner perimeter of Colombia to interact with the gang members and the gang leaders themselves, and then find out from them the engagement or their act of taking in illicit drugs, what brought them here, and if whether or not they are aware of the consequences or the repercussions.
50-year-old Patrick is the president of the ghetto. For 32 years, he has been into drug peddling, moving from one ghetto to another, but now stays permanently with his friends at Colombia. Usually the most feared and highest of the crew, he oversees all operations from who gets which corner to smoke, to settling disputes over stolen slippers and missing sachets of weed. His cabinet, a circle of addicts and dealers who nod vigorously to whatever he says.
My Oma 5, my warrior, my banana 5.
For how long, what shall I say, or shall I say, drugs?
Chain drug on 93.
1993.
93, I'm chain drug.
How many years in your Cabo?
Cover 30 years. I checked 2 years. I checked.
Drugs, no, I had an room.
I had done 4 drug there. So, about chain, I did be up a soul chain. I will say, I had done 4.
Let me be say, drugs ben in Yama Ben, I would see me far.
Menum red. Oh, menum brew. Menum cookie. Menum apatashi. Menum we. I did be a
no ma. Then a yo and I didn't crown on.
One my aunt to a black bonus, so my own uncles are how we are saying. Say, what Bobby Raha would that. I don't know how Kakraka and this one I'm known because why Pusa.
In the ghetto, they have leadership, and then the hierarchy is very much important that you cannot skip. The ghetto leader himself is here, and he takes them through everything that they have to do, the regulations of the ghetto, and the ghetto president is also here. But the leader operates and gives out the drug. Let's interact with him. Ghetto leader.
I saw the Juma and but stressing I'm with me. I change ye. Film, but you make sure say, being fire and sign free, baby, emigra at the end.
A cheche, the Oyina, China, we are then.
So I'll be one say, so, and every so a cigarette, and I will say a man or baby or my 7 initial, which means I say, oh, black. Yes, man, pa. Yes, so you to be more but now you know is a game 9 day akoso. And we see your name was already as a book bia your honor many politics aduane we say be nuane bia yedidi and I had a woman.
Knowing the repercussions of his action, he is worried about young people abusing drugs. He shared an advice.
Ran no mobile no teen for no teen for now mobile man and your man go and man go is dangerous. A pan who free on a cocoa from my business I draw 5 city of mammy could dear. When I'm me slow my button we are moment in co mount. A foot on Tamano when they no. Yeah, I'm fat. Me say I cry me say me say me super no per cry me soon. Me twana me soon. Bebe kubolo life. It me dem slow mo tramadol, drug, we and sand and alcohol thing beer any circumstances beer. Dem be nyam din slow mo de ma me ntu me chewe no. Na yes as a we ne she me ntu me amini. Me dem slepa me amu nyina. Me say obi adwuma nchi obi akono de me dem se menye no ho nti menye no ho na America no se wunya no ho ya be dem mpane se wo so o be menye no ho se o ma ne shen munyam ne timbe hwe o ma me ne o ma ene onuam.
A major police swoop takes us back into the belly of the beast, the drug selling point of Tinker Island, which also serves as the home for some of the addicts. This den has become breeding grounds for hooliganism, crime and violence. Meet Vera, a young woman whose youth has been swallowed by addiction and is currently serving as one of the masters in the den. She is only 26, but the wear on her face tells a story of hardship far beyond her years. Night after night, she sells her body to buy the very substance that is killing her slowly.
If you say no, what Tinker Island?
If you are 1 day, for 3 years.
Why they do run?
The cinema might be a tenant in fine. But what you me
I'm not pay any of my bay now. Fasa.
Oh, me sorry and chair dear by telling me the match.
When I'm to say I no pay.
I would then inquire when I met you. But it pain. Oh, body.
I didn't be no more dinner.
Vera.
Wow.
How back?
Oh, my man, no papa. Oh,
mamma and papa, oh, money.
I didn't know when you sick at the better in Ray. Oh, yeah, Juma.
Oh, in your Juma, there by our body. So they were both all day. Oh,
a crime soon after Sodineska.
Miss Woodbuck or body or won't even go reality. It's a beer. Maybe do and I say, only year together. Or the better to be a day. Amount. Apart from that, won't make us a clono or body and clono fatal.
DSP Godwin Ahianyo is the Ashanti Regional Police PRO.
The command has resolved to do or plan to undertake is forming a team, as in getting our men to be on the ground. So there's a possibility that the FPU base will be created. They will have an FPU base where our men will be there 24/7, so that they ward off these criminals and these users of these illicit drugs.
Now, it is a very big place. It is more of like a community on its own. That is what Tinker Island looks like. Now, you can see a gentleman who has taken lots of drugs. As a matter of fact, he's asleep. You can see some of them, the addicts all over this place. Even on their refuse dump, you can see substances. Some wraps are here, matches, cigarettes. And we've even spotted some items suspected to be cocaine, what they call the tie. And anybody you see here is an addict.
The Ashanti Regional Director of the Narcotics Control Commission, Samuel Yeboah, provides a sobering account of the country's escalating drug crisis. He highlights the proliferation of illicit substances such as cannabis, heroin, cocaine, methamphetamine, MDMA, and codeine, which have been seized in significant quantities between 2021 and 2024 alone.
When we're talking about substances abuse, if you're talking about those that are being trafficked into the country, they are basically cocaine, heroin, and sometimes methamphetamine. But I must say that when we are talking about substances abuse, there are so many substances people are abusing in the country. Okay. Now, I think what is popular now is red. I mean, the opioids. You find it almost everywhere. Okay. Apart from that, we know that, something like because it is grown here, unlike cocaine and heroin that are produced outside and brought into the country. Okay, these things are here. And then we also have an issue with some drugs we call synthetic drugs. I mentioned methamphetamine, for instance. Okay, we've realized that, especially some of our neighboring countries, they have these clandestine labs, and some of them have been able to come into the country and establish some of these labs.
He added that 70% of drug addicts impounded so far are youth of school-going age.
Most of the people who use drugs, per our records, about 70%. Okay, the statistics that we have, about 70% of people who use drugs are the youth.
I have come to the psychiatric department of the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital to speak to a specialist psychiatrist, Dr.